What's up, you guys? Teddy Striker here, and this Saturday is UFC 315 Belal Muhammad versus Della Maddalena. And Belal Muhammad is favored to win this matchup. And in this video, we're going to be talking about how the underdog JDM can beat Belal Muhammad. We're going to build a game plan for him to win and get the belt. I'm not saying he's going to win. I'm just basically building a game plan for him to beat Belal Muhammad. But if you're interested in my prediction, make sure you guys stay tuned for the video that's going to be dropping later this week. But with that being said, let's get into the keys to victory I have for JDM to beat Belal Muhammad. The first key to victory I have for JDM is going to be now, part of the reason why I think that Belal Muhammad was able to be so dominant against guys like Sean Brady and Leon Edwards is because he could just walk through them without anything in his way. But in this fight, to avoid that, JDM is going to need to put something in his way, and the best thing that you can use is a jab, because with the jab, you don't need to throw a lot of power to be effective, because, you know, the opponent is walking forward, and then you can just time them coming in, and that's going to get their respect. And also, you're not going to be too exposed to any counter strikes from the jab. It's a very safe attack. And also, one more reason why I think the jab is going to be effective for JDM is because Belal Muhammad has a tendency to reach for punches whenever he's under attack. He reaches with both hands and he leaves himself wide open. And since the jab is a very safe attack to throw, you can just get a big reaction out of Belal and then start setting up more combinations, because you're going to see that same reaction where he tries to parry, and then you can start looking for your hooks, your body shots like JDM likes, and all kinds of combinations off the jab. But moving on to the next key character I have for JDM, and that's going to be I feel like Belal Muhammad is at his best when he's controlling the cage and controlling the pace of the fight, because he's able to land his strikes and mix in his grappling, and it just makes it a lot easier to continue working. If your opponent defends a takedown against a fence, at least you can still like kind of keep on controlling them and work for another takedown. Whereas if you're in open space in the middle of the cage, you're gonna have to reset, get back to striking, and then look to shoot a takedown again. So for JDM to stop that, he's got to be the one that's controlling the octagon, have his opponent moving backwards and using more energy. And Belal likes to push a pace, so make him use a lot more energy than you do and slow him down through the octagon control, and just pressuring him with calculated pressure and letting your hands go when you see Belal's near the fence where he doesn't have that much space. And also, Belal does like to throw his head kicks, and when you push someone back, you don't really have those same effective kicks because you don't have as much space. Your opponent can just step in and smother your kick and throw some punches as you're on one leg and potentially hurt you. So if JDM wants to win this fight, he is going to have to control the octagon. Moving on to the next key to victory I have for JDM, which is going to be Belal Muhammad does have a bit of a wide base, and his legs are open to leg kicks. And if JDM is going to be controlling the center of the cage and trying to put some pressure on Belal, one way to slow down his footwork is to chop at those legs. And Vicente Luque, in their fight, he had the pressure going for him, but he wasn't really throwing that many leg kicks. It wasn't really a focal point of his strategy, and I feel like that's why Belal was able to be on his bike and run circles around Vicente Luque. Also, it can slightly distract Belal from JDM's hands, because he's going to be expecting those hands, so mix it up by throwing those calf kicks in there. Moving on to the next key to victory I have for JDM, and that's going to be now, I think that at some point in this fight, Belal Muhammad is going to secure at least one takedown, and to get back up to his feet, JDM, he's going to have to create some scrambles, create some movement, so that he's able to get back up to his feet and get back to work. Because I think Belal has a massive grappling advantage over JDM. So JDM, as soon as you get the opportunity, look for some movement, with your strikes, with maybe potentially throwing submissions, and look to get back up to your feet where you're at your best. But moving on to the next key trick I have for JDM, and that's going to be so one of the best ways that Belal Muhammad is able to secure his takedowns is with a double leg takedown or single legs, when he's able to lock his hands and really get a good grip over his opponents and finish the takedown. And to defend this, you gotta find a way to separate your opponent's hands, so break the grip. And you can do this by controlling the head of your opponent by lifting it, getting like an overhook, so you're lifting the arm of your opponent, and at the same time move your feet and your hips away from your opponent. And this can actually drain the gas tank of Belal Muhammad a lot quicker, having him work so hard for a takedown that he doesn't even end up getting, and then having to go back and strike. That's gonna be tough for Belal. And for JDM, he has to prioritize takedown defense before attacking with submissions. Threatening Belal Muhammad with a choke might work once or twice, but ultimately Belal will make the adjustments and then he'll get a good position. So if you're JDM, focus on just defending the takedown and then getting back to your feet. Moving on to the next key trick I have for JDM to win this fight, and that's going to be JDM can fight out of both stances, and he's very comfortable in the southpaw stance. And when Belal starts to really expect that jab, like we talked about earlier, he's going to be reaching for that jab, which is going to leave him open for either punches around the guard, or if you really want to put him to sleep, you can start looking for those head kicks, and he's expecting the hand. So surprise him, catch him off guard by throwing something that's not really in your toolbox, but it kind of is in your toolbox, because JDM can throw some nice head kicks, but he doesn't need to, really. He's so efficient with his boxing that often that's all he needs. But to really catch someone like the champion off guard, you can mix in a head kick here and there. Moving on to the last key trick I have for JDM, which is going to be now, what I mean by this is be the last one to punch in an exchange. And the reason why I put this in here is because, like, Belal Muhammad, he is a very offensive-minded fighter. So he's going to want to come forward and land some strikes on his opponents and push them back. And it is a very effective strategy. But sometimes when you're so offensively minded, you kind of forget about your defense. And sometimes Belal Muhammad, on the exit and on the end of exchanges, he is open to be hit because he kind of just stays in range and he doesn't really look to be defensive. He doesn't try to move away. He doesn't try to move to the side, try to dip his head or in any way, or really bring his hands back up to his face. And here Belal tries to answer back, and he does, but then he gets clipped with a left hook on the counter. And here again, he is actually gonna answer back, like Luke answers, and then he answers back. But he's very offensive. He wants to get in there and land shots on his opponents. But JDM is probably the sharpest puncher that Belal has faced in a very long time, maybe like in the last 5 years. So if JDM can find a way to avoid the strikes of Belal and come back with some punches of his own, Belal is going to be in range, in my opinion, and it's the shots that you don't see that really hurt you. And since Belal is going to be aggressive, trying to push JDM back, he could get clipped by something he doesn't see, and that could put him down. And the way JDM can set this up is, in the first round, you see Belal start to throw combinations, give him that respect, start disengaging and kind of back up and make sure he stays in range. And then have him do that one more time to really confirm, okay, he is going to be doing this, because we've seen from the film that he does do this. But if he does it twice in the fight, then that means that he's going to be there the third time, he's going to stay in range. And for that third exchange, that's when you can start really finishing the combinations with some heavy strikes that could potentially put Belal to sleep. But that's all I've got for the keys to victory for JDM to beat Belal Muhammad this weekend. Obviously, he's going to need to do a lot more. Belal Muhammad is a champion for a reason, a top pound-for-pound fighter in the world. But I think this is going to be a very exciting fight, a competitive fight. If you want my prediction, once again, stay tuned for that. It's going to be dropping later this week, along with my predictions for every fight that's going to be on the main card. So make sure you guys like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.